What's going on, everybody? Deacon here, and by the title of the video, yes, I got married 20 plus years ago. As a matter of fact, as the recording of this video, we got married 22 years ago. And instead of making this a video about marital tips and so on and so forth, I'm just primarily just sharing my experience throughout this whole thing, because it's easy to see so many videos when I was searching to see why people got divorced after 20 years, 30 years, or however many years they've been together. I just wanted to share my experience up to this point that yes, I'm still married to a woman that not only do I love her, but I still like her too. So I'm 43 at the recording of this video, been married for 22 years. So yes, that means I got married at 21. Matter of fact, I got married a week after my 21st birthday, and my wife had not yet turned 21 because we're 4 months apart. Now, if you want to know why I did it, I got a whole playlist explaining why I got married that you can check out. Now, full transparency, we are terrible at fake it till you make it when it comes to a couple. We're the type that what you see is what you get. So that gives me the confidence to be able to share why, even after all these years, I still love and like this woman. Now, love for me is a collection of attributes. Sure, you could say how you feel about it and the emotion behind it, but for me, it's an action word. And in a practical way to explain how I'm able to pull that off, there's 4 major attributes I feel in order to have a healthy relationship. And this is feedback I've gotten from others who've been in a long-term marriages or committed marriages, and that's friendship, commitment, communication, and trust. Now, depending on who you are, will just show where you rank each thing, but for us in our marriage, trust has always been number 1, but then friendship, communication, and commitment all cycles to where which one comes closer to the front, while trust is usually always at the top. Because one thing that I've learned being married for so long and going through different experiences is that you're trying to make sure that you don't fall into a level of complacency. Because we are committed, but you try not to fall into a level of complacency. Because once you start getting complacent and you take your partner for granted, that's when you open the door for all this other nonsense to start happening. And because of these 4 attributes, it's kind of kept us on track. There's always something, a foundation we can come back to, even if the rest of the house is starting to look kind of run down or torn down or needs to be updated and renovated. By doing this as well, it helped make the word love be so vague, and it also allowed us to protect each other physically, mentally, and spiritually, to know that no matter when there's a rough patch or where we're not on the same page, that the other person doesn't have ill intentions to do something foul to the person. Because like I said, that's where that pillar of trust is very important, that we know that even if we're not seeing eye to eye, we're going to do what we can to get back on the same page and to be intentional about it. Even if it's something that happens that we don't solve that night, at least it's something that you know we eventually going to get to, because it's only but so far that we're going to take this. And then 2, she's my friend. So it's like, you don't want to be, if you have a true, genuine friendship, you don't want to be mad at your friend for a very long time. So you're always going to try to do what you can to seek a resolution in that regard. But I mean, like I said, I'm not doing the whole explanation thing. I'm telling you from my experience with help so far. So our marriage is more of a traditional marriage where I'm the sole breadwinner. I work outside the home. My wife is currently a housewife. But what's ironic about it is we didn't start out this way. We were both working, doing more of a 60-40 split than 50-50, where I covered the majority of the bills and she would take care of some of the other stuff like the cable bill. When we used to have landlines, we use a landline for the phone bill, and just a little bit, like 1/4 of the rent. And this is what I asked for, because she said, you know, if I wanted her to put more towards something, she would. I was like, no, I'll cover the majority of it. You just take care of these little things. And we did that for the first year of our marriage when we moved into our apartment, until she got pregnant with our oldest daughter, which was in like late 2005. And my wife hasn't had a 9-to-5 since that time. Granted, from 2006 to 2010, we were living with her parents because we were saving up for the house we currently have now. And she was going to go back to work, but when we started doing the math, we realized that her entire check would have went to daycare. We had a then 3-year-old and a 3-month-old. And it's just like, yeah, nah. I don't know what childcare is like in your area, but here in the DMV area, yeah, her whole check would have been wiped out by daycare. So it's like, well, I can afford it. Go ahead and stay home. And to see the benefits almost 18 years later, how it worked out to where
She was always involved in their school stuff. I never had to worry about where they were. It allowed me to be able to progress in my IT career aggressively, because I could take jobs, roles with some of the weirdest hours. I mean, I even had a job that it literally, the schedule changed every week from day, mid to night shift. Then you're off a week, then you start the whole process over again. But it increased my salary, which then I can negotiate for the next job, and so on and so forth. And just how she was able to hold down the fort. During our children's middle school years, for both of them, she decided she wanted to homeschool them because she didn't like, what public school was offering, and how, in some public schools, they're about moving on quickly instead of actually being able to cater to children individually. She was able to do that, build her own homeschooling curriculum from scratch. And just seeing how she was able to implement that now it's such a well-oiled machine. So many things that I knew she would be capable of doing, being a great mom. Things I saw, like I said, even before we got married, that it was just more confirmation that I was right in the decision that I made back then. Another thing I love and appreciate about my wife is just seeing how she's grown and matured as an individual. I know many times when we do videos or we talk about things of that nature, we usually only focus on our own personal growth and self-reflection. But to see someone that you love and you care about grow in such a manner, and maturity and accountability just as an individual, seeing certain goals and dreams and aspirations being met, being in a relationship with someone for so long that, you still see that you still have each other's backs is a beautiful thing. It's one of the many things I'm grateful for. We always have check-ins when we talk about how we feel and where we are in life and where we want to go and things of that nature. So still being able to check in and seeing certain boxes being checked off, but still seeing their goals, aspirations, things that we want to do. You hear so many stories of people growing apart or not growing as an individual or feeling like they've missed out and haven't achieved certain things in life. And to see that we've been able to check off a lot of boxes. There's still some things we want to do, and there's still some things she says she wants to do. But the fact that, we're still on one accord in that regard and still have other goals and things that we want to do, it's amazing. I know one of the main things we want to do is travel more once the kids move out the house, but we're not quite there yet. And just seeing how important communication is in our marriage, and not just I said what I said, or, I said this and you do that. I mean, we're actually intentional about, okay, I learned how you respond and you're learning how I respond. So I'm going to communicate to you in a way that you'll actually receive what I have to say instead of, well, I said it, I don't understand why they're not getting it. Because that's one thing we were fortunate to learn, I would say halfway up until this point. So like within the first 10 years, I learned and then also shared with her is that, yeah, people communicate. They know how to talk, but they don't really know how to talk in a way that their significant other, their spouse or their partner can actually understand in a way that where they can receive that information. This is why sometimes, and you see it even online now, where you have people, sure, they're talking and they understand what each other mean. But we learned early on, stop talking to people who aren't in the marriage and telling them and looking for validation from them. Talk in a way that your partner can receive it, because you too should be the only validation that you're trying to seek. And that's one thing that I'm grateful for having a woman like her, to where, one, she takes accountability for her actions. And not only that, just continue to grow, to learn, and to get better. Of course, both of us can always get better. And then there are times where either one of us want to be petty. You know what to do, but just not doing it in that moment, but eventually understanding it like, look, we want to be together. We want to be in each other's lives. So stop playing these games and make this thing work. Another thing that I love about her is that we understood early on that we are here to complement each other, not compete with one another. You got so many people that they like to pull out things that they've done or they have accomplished as if it's a competition. No, it's supposed to be a complementation. Even, is that a word? It is a word, but I definitely didn't use it in its proper context. You're supposed to complement each other, because there's always going to be a sense where one person is stronger than the other in the area, one person is weaker in the area than the other. Instead of drilling in on, oh, well, I'm stronger than you, I'm better than you in this area, or you kind of weak in this area, and you're always making this a competition. Instead, you complement one another, being like, okay,
I know this is an area I'm strong in. I'm about to knock this out the park and we can flourish in this area, and vice versa, where it's like, okay, yeah, this ain't really my thing. Perfect example. When it comes to the IT stuff and our oldest daughter wants to go into computer science and cyber security, I take the lead on that because I'm already in the field and there are certain things I work on. But when it comes to math, my wife got that because me, I just did enough that I can pass. But if once it starts going beyond basic math into like trigonometry, calculus and stuff like that, oh no, I'm hands off. But my wife is strong in that area. So that's an area she leads in that direction. Finances, when it comes to managing, what to invest in, so on and so forth, man, I love that stuff. You know, just learning how to understand, put things here and there. She couldn't care less about that stuff. Give her what she needs to take care of what she needs to take care of at the household, and then she's good. But the one thing I always make sure I do, though, is I make sure that even though I manage all the finances and so on and so forth, she has access to everything. There's nothing hidden from her that she does not know about, and vice versa. Because I mean, I know all the accounts and passwords and all of the stuff like that. But once again, remember those 4 pillars I told you about trust. I trust this woman trusts me, and we always make sure that when it comes in these certain areas that we maintain that level of trust. It was not going to look that way for everybody. Like I said, this is not that video, but this is the importance of when you have these foundations that allows you to move in certain areas that I notice a lot of people are not willing to go into. We're able to be vulnerable to each other, which is another thing that I appreciate about her, is that she's never thrown in my face things that I've told her in the past, that things that I might have been insecure about, vulnerable about, or bothered by. For those who know or don't know, I grew up in a single parent household being raised by my father, so my mother wasn't always there. So if there's ever any disconnect or things of that nature that I may or may not understand or we may or may not agree on, she doesn't throw in my face, well, oh, you probably doing this because you grew up without your mother being around. She don't take petty shots like that. We deal with the situation for whatever it is in that moment, for whatever it is. If she was to say that in a situation, would it be true or may not be true? It could be. But instead of trying to find ways to hurt one another, instead of trying to find out, all right, what's going on? Talk to me, communicate with me, or even if it's not with her, do what you got to do to kind of clear your head, but then still come back and let me know what was going on and keep me informed, just so we can make sure that we maintain on the same page. Both of us hate drama and prioritize peace. Now, I get it. For some people, depending on how you came up, having things that are too predictable or too peaceful, it makes it boring. When you get boring, you tend to wander and want to do something to get yourself, more entertainment. But for us, we're not about that. She told me that, I think it was like the first month we met. She's not about drama. You bring it, you're done. I was like, oh, this is beautiful, because it's like, I ain't about the drama either, but it works for us because it's like, we don't then bring that stuff into our relationship for strangers that are either showing highlight reels or they're going off on situations that we've been able to avoid. Yeah, I mean, I can probably think of some other things, but I just want to do this off the top of my head, and like being married for 22 years to this person, who, like I said, is not only my lover, not only the mother of my children, but she's also my friend. It's somebody that I want to see continue to grow, continue to flourish, continue to be the best woman she can be. Not just because I get the benefit from it, but mostly for her, and anything that I can do to help her reach that goal. I've been doing that up to this point, and I will continue to do so, because that's kind of my experience. My experience has been, if you can find someone that is genuine and has your best intentions and you have their best intentions, it can flourish. Healthy marriages and healthy relationships are possible. Yes, on the surface, they're not going to all look the same. But if it is built on a strong foundation, the sky's the limit of where it can go. I mean, when you have a woman you're literally married to that tells you the only way out of this marriage is death, I'm okay with that. That might sound not too well or even triggering for someone else. But for me, because I understand it, because we're both in a situation where we want to be in this together and with each other. She is the standard of what I judge other women by. I got what I asked for, and it has not disappointed me. Has there been ups and downs? Of course it has. You're talking about two individuals consistently having to work to stay on the same page, but it's like exercising. the more you do it, once you reach a certain level, you don't have to work as hard to get to that level. You just have to make sure you're consistent so you can maintain the level that you want to get to. And that's kind of where we're at right now. It won't end because of what we don't know what to do. We know what to do. We just stop doing it. And therefore, that's what caused it to come to an end. That's it. I mean, I could think of more things, but I'll save that for some other time. Feel free to leave any comments or questions in the comment section below, because who knows, you might have some, you might not. But that's it. So as always, be wise. And until I see you all next time, have a great day.